To cheat or not to cheat? You're from where exactly? I slurred over my third gay bar pour at the Ritz. Thank God for faggot bartenders, or I'd go broke trying to cop a buzz. Buenos Aires, you said? Well, I'm from Detroit, actually, he said in a faux Spanglish accent. But I lived in New York for 5 years. Now, I divide my time between here and Buenos Aires. Oh, that's right, I said. You gave up New York City apartment 2 years ago to move to Argentina for love. How romantic. So, what, you're here visiting then? More like taking care of a few things, he said. Business and such. He said it in a way of one does when not willing to tell the whole story. I could tell he was holding something back. He was fidgeting. So where exactly do you stay here? I asked with skepticism. One doesn't give up a New York City apartment lightly, because no matter how much we love you, guests to New Yorkers are like fish. 3 days tops. Maybe a week if you're fucking. Oh, I stay here and there, he said. Came his elusive response. Obviously it was not a hotel. Couch surfing, I said. Right. So it would have to be my place then. But let's talk about this first. Do you and your boyfriend have a cat's away clause, or would you be cheating on him? Well, I wouldn't exactly call it cheating, he said. So, what, you have an open relationship then, I said? This is sort of a gray zone. We really haven't discussed this yet, he answered. Okay, but if you went home with someone from a bar, for instance, me, would you tell him about it, I asked? Perhaps, he said, his brows furrowing slightly. This would be a discussion that might have to take place at some point. Okay then, I said pointedly. In my book, having sex outside of your relationship without predetermined rules of contact and a possible conversation about it afterwards would in fact be cheating. So, as long as we're clear on this, I'll ask you again. Hypothetically speaking, of course. Would you cheat on your boyfriend with me? He thought about it for a minute and said, well, if you put it like this, at the risk of never seeing you again, I'm going to have to say I take a rain check for this. Good answer, I said. I wouldn't want my boyfriend cheating on me with some tipsy trollop that I met in a bar. And as horny as I am, I'd much rather support you being faithful to your boyfriend. Truthfully, I was sort of relieved. The conversation was sort of far more interesting than some sloppy sex we might have had as the sun was rising. But now that I'm single, it makes me realize how differently I think about relationship delineations. I value the trust factor more than I ever did with all 4 of my long-term boyfriends. It may be that I'm just tired of playing the field, or it may be that I welcome the security of a monogamous relationship. It may also be that if I was in one, I might feel the need for some exterior conquest, oink oink. I tell myself I might be different this time if I was in a relationship, but who knows what it would be like several years down the line. I'm certainly no saint and no Judge Judy when it comes to passing out the verdict, so if he had lied and said, Jace, my boyfriend and I, we have an understanding, I would have jumped his bones. Or, had I not opened my big mouth and interrogated the poor man, we might have had our own don't ask, don't tell and guiltlessly gone our separate ways. As it turned out, I ran into him 2 days later at the Banya party and we blew each other in the VIP lounge. This time there was no talking. We were both there for sex, so why mince words? If it wasn't me, he would have gone with someone else, or likely several someone else's. We were at a sex party after all. So what the fuck? The guy was out to get laid and had obviously made peace with cheating on his boyfriend. As far as my own moral high ground, ha! What moral high ground? We all have our private stories. He keeps his to himself unless grilled by a confrontational queen, and I share mine with millions of people on the World Wide Web. So, Dating Bradford wants to know, when I have a boyfriend, I'll ask myself the question, to cheat or not to cheat. Will you?